Before we begin, everybody, the Summer of Gooder continues for just a few more weeks. Make sure to grab your discount code Packfiller15, Packfiller15 before they are gone. Great fitting, polarized lenses, non-slip frames, and more styles than Sir Elton John. I have used that one 3 times now. I need to write a new intro for Gooder. Use the link at Packfiller.com. Be sure to include that special one-time code of Packfiller15. That's the one and only Gooder. Also, we need to thank the fine folks at Scratch Labs. You know how important proper fueling is, right? Right. Well, Scratch has you covered. From drink mixes, full energy fueling, and brilliant bars and gummies. Are they gummies? Is it
Chews.
Fruit chews. That's better. Because gummies gives automatically a weed insinuation.
Does a little bit.
Yeah, something like that. To the best source of Feed Zone recipes out there, you can't go wrong with Scratch. Click the link at Packfiller. And I want to mention a new partnership with Movember. That, by the way, that's why I have this fuzzy thing on my upper lip. We've been slowly launching our Patreon program. And what a better way to get involved with the show than to benefit the help for testicular cancer and suicide prevention. I'm not saying helping testicular cancer. I'm saying testicular cancer prevention.
Yes.
I don't want to help testicular
You're not giving a
cancer.
helping hand.
It's like, come on, kill more guys. That's right. We will be talking more, but for now, go to Packfiller, click the link, learn about how you can help, how you can get involved, and how you can benefit. So there we go. Let's get rid of this page, and let's do it. Took long enough. Jackson says we're live, so I'm taking his word for it.
I'm seeing it right now.
Good. Thank God. Well, as if on cue, our expertise has fallen on wobbly legs. If you're paying attention to the Vuelta, and if you were thinking Primos, you were wrong. At least so far, right? But more on that later. Welcome to Life on Two Wheels. Welcome to the Pack. Welcome to the Packfiller Cycling Podcast. I am your host, Pat Bulger. I'm back at work. Can you guys tell?
Yeah.
Really? I don't fucking like it. But I do. I actually do. I really love my other job. But we'll get there. The panel, I wrote this before I knew Jack was going to be with us. So you get to hear what I would say if Jack wasn't with us. The panel is a bit truncated tonight, but Jack is always in our hearts. Jack, I said that for you.
Wow.
He's touched.
But then I also said, or is it just the annoying ringing in our ears? Welcome, everybody. Welcome, gentlemen. And are you ready for tonight's listener-submitted question? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you could probably see it because it was in bold font on my show copy.
Yep.
It is, do you have any phobias? Do you have any phobias? And you can't just answer yes or no.
Yes,
Maybe just tell me something you're scared of. We've done this before, really close, and you can't use the chitty chitty bang bang guy.
No. I used another one. There was a phobia.
Really?
Yeah.
You have another one?
Yeah. It's. Do you want me to say it now?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Oh, well, I'm going to introduce you first. So he's the guy who most recently raced, Mr. Paul May.
I think some people probably wouldn't qualify that as a race. I raced.
Well, we're going to get a
pinned
full
on
report.
a number.
That is race. That's
Yeah.
a start line,
Yeah.
man. That's a start line. How are you, dude? We're going to get a full report on your race here before we get going here. So, but you got a phobia?
Yeah, it's backward knobophobia.
What the fuck?
That's the fear of running naked backwards into a doorknob. I stole that from Johnny Carson. Yeah.
What is back?
He had a back and neck of knobophobia or something. It was pretty funny.
Jackson's like, who?
What?
No, I know who that is.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't.
Because that happens all the time. I find myself naked running backwards.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what about the doorknobs?
Yeah. That's a good thing to be considered.
So now I don't even go naked. I'm a never nude.
Wow.
He just puts pants on now and runs backwards.
Cutoffs.
Yeah.
Wear cutoffs in the shower.
Yeah.
I'm a never nude.
He's the guy who lives in our brains because he's not here, so he's just a voice in our ears, just like you listening to this show, Mr. Jack Broadhead. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm like the Wizard of Oz.
You are. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yep.
You got a phobia, dude?
I was thinking, I don't. I mean, spiders, mice, I have no,
You're not
kites
scared of
don't
anything.
bother me. I'm trying to think of. I mean, I put myself in some pretty gnarly situations, but I just I can't think of one. I'm drawing a blank.
Wow.
Are you afraid of
I know.
loneliness? Failure?
I mean,
Let's get really deep with it.
Yeah.
Creative. Yeah, I'm a fear of losing my voice.
Woof.
That's a big one.
Yeah. How about fear of awkward silence? You got to have that.
I may have that
I hate-
fear, but I don't ever allow that to happen.
Small talk fucks me up. And that's the awkward silence. It's like, oh, I got to talk.
I got toe jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got this friend who's scared of running backwards into
Doorknobs.
It's funny. It's-
Buck naked.
Yeah, buck naked. And then I'll just stop and look at you. He's like, oh shit. He's the only guy who likes sausage pepper pasta but doesn't eat the peppers, Mr. Jackson Bulger.
Very true.
Why don't you eat the pepper? Why do you like the dish? Is it just the sausage and the pasta?
That is my favorite part, but I do eat the peppers as well, just not all of them.
All right.
Is there a
think
certain
that's-
number you set aside?
Well,
like
I just
13.
I usually
One
have like
per, it's like a ratio or something.
well since we're talking about phobias.
Yeah.
But in all reality, phobias, I get afraid of like bugs and
Do you?
snakes and like lizards. And so what my fiance and I have said is I have a phobia of things that scurry.
Oh.
Scurry phobia.
Yeah. If we're getting medical.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scurry phobia.
I'm sure that's medical.
Yep.
Wow. That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Snakes are my biggest one though.
You don't like snakes.
I hate snakes.
I have to
And
add that
water
into my
snakes.
story when I talk about my time trial.
Me, I'm the guy who just found out how to put Strava segments on my computer.
What?
I was on a ride on Monday, and I didn't know you had to star them in your Strava for them to transfer to your Wahoo. And out of nowhere, I get this bleep bleep. You're on one of your Strava segments, and I was holy fuck, what the hell's going? This is so cool. And I beat like my PR on that climb by like 15 seconds because I was just going. It tells me the pace. It tells me how much faster to go.
Yeah.
It tells me how much slower to go. Paul, you don't probably do this, do you?
No.
Yeah, it was so fucking cool. And my phobia is, in case nobody knows it, I'm sure I've said it before, 100% frogs. Frogs freak me the fuck out. Always freak me out. I have never liked frogs. Now, if somebody, I've had students who are just like, hey, I got you a stuffed frog, Mr. Pat. I'm like, it's not a frog. That's cloth and stuffing.
Oh.
The fuck out of my face.
You throw it at them.
Yeah. But no, real frogs. I've never liked them. And it was a childhood moment where I opened a large at this place up on a lake. We had this huge door that was double thickness, and I think it was some sort of a cooler once upon a time, but it was a wooden door. And I stored there was something I needed to get for a boat or something like that, and I opened this large door, and about 5 tree frogs fell on me. And that was just like a traumatic moment. You would think, I've also been swarmed by bees. You'd think I would be scared of bees, but I'm not scared of bees.
Unless they go down your throat.
I'm not scared of them. I just end up talking like Gollum. But and you'd think I'd be scared of spiders because in college I lived in a basement, and I would honestly wake up in the morning and flick them off myself because I'd have so many spiders on me.
Nice.
Don't fucking bother me. They don't bother me. 5 frogs fall on you, you're traumatized for life.
Yeah.
My dad took us to a fucking museum once.
It did.
Yeah, and I know my dad doesn't listen to these shows because he says we talk too much at the beginning. So I can do this. My dad took us to a fucking museum once where there were live frogs on display, and I'm kind of breathing hard, and he's like, "You were serious about that?" I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, I'm fucking serious about it." Sorry. Anyway, I'm airing my my grievances. This isn't Festivus, so
Festivus.
I gotta relax. But
Where's the aluminum pole?
yeah. So about the segments thing, I know Paul doesn't, but and Jack's probably still riding with an Avocet. But do you guys have live segments on your computers, Jackson? Do you do that?
I've done it once for a KOM.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like one segment is all you keep.
That's all I have, and it's in Portland.
Really?
But Yeah, I did it, and I like how it keeps it tells you the pace for the KOM or your PR.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And it tells you if your distance from them.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you are coming up on one that you starred, you can select it and go for it. Paul, you obviously don't. You put your computer in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, what are you riding, man, for a bike computer?
Naked.
This is back to the whole
I'm
sex
not.
room thing.
Yeah.
You use your phone.
Naked.
You use your phone.
I do start my phone. Yeah. So basically, I start my phone at the beginning for Strava, and then, but I'm gonna get a Wahoo Bolt. So I just had to, like I said, I had to buy the kids school shoes, 2 pairs each.
That'll do it.
Thank you, Father. You bought me shoes.
I mean, they're
Please,
well,
can I
not
have some
only
more?
was it $600 worth of shoes, but one of the pairs we got scammed on. Some Jordans, and so we lost $100.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
you can pay a lot for Jordans.
Mm-hmm.
did you get the shoes?
No, we paid for them, but we didn't get them.
You paid
and now
$100
that
bucks.
website-
You paid $100 for Jordans, and you're surprised you didn't get them.
You only paid $100 for Jordans. Yeah. Oh yeah.
They were coming out of Indonesia, weren't they?
India.
Yeah.
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 So I before we get to the news and stuff like that, I do want to talk about this chasing of Strava segments for a little bit here, because we are all on that program, and we are all, whether we like to say it or not, mildly controlled by it or addicted to it. Can we all agree? We all check it when we get home from a ride, regardless of
Absolutely.
whether or not it's
Yeah.
on the dashboard. So do you guys have any segments that you are constantly paying attention to, that it's like, I want to fucking get that one. I'm close enough. I want to get that one. Jack, I'm going to let you go first. But it's hard for you probably because you're so infrequent. I mean, you're bouncing around the place. You don't necessarily have the same rides you're constantly doing.
I'm starting to figure out a couple of the the locals around here that have segments, and a couple of them are from 2015. So I'm like, I don't even know if the guys still ride still, but I'm seeing a reoccurring name or two on the Strava segments, so I can kind of gauge well, this guy's KOM on several, but he was second, and then one of the segments I ended up second and put him into third. So then I know, well, he's got some KOM, so he's got to be decent. He's got to be a decent rider.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then in Spokane, there's a few I'm eyeing. When Paul and I rode a couple weeks ago, when he was on his TT bike, I was kind of questioning him about a guy, and now I'm starting to look at some of his Strava segments. I kind of set goals.
Yeah.
All right, I want this guy to get the email that me
Says,
hasn't been around in 10 years.
You suck.
Is beating him on my cyclocross bike or something like that. I'm gonna put something snarky on the ride or something.
Yeah, including his name on it. It's like, hey, went out there and beat AJ 4966.
Let's just put it that way. You'll enjoy it.
Okay. Okay. Do you guys, Paul? For a guy who doesn't have his computer on his handlebars, let alone it's never really a huge priority for you. I've noticed it's not like you don't fucking care. But there were years where you always had massive Strava KOMs.
Yeah, that was when probably about 1/3 of the people in Spokane who rode bikes actually were on Strava. So
sure, but do you pay attention to it still to this day? Are there ones you're eyeing or things like that?
Being I'm 4.5 months away from being 60, I don't really worry about when they're going to go away. They're going to go away.
Yeah,
I there's no way I can break. There's young bucks coming up, but in the early days, all I did was just do training rides, and a lot of them I was by myself, and so those KOMs I take with pride
You
because I
weren't being
did.
let out.
No,
by
I
a
wasn't
friend.
being let out.
Well, I was going to ask
but-
about that one next. Yeah. So
But nowadays, there's only one. We went out for a ride, and I have one. I don't even know what it's called, but it's on the Charles Road, and we're kind of doing the Spoke Fest
mm-hmm.
loop. And I said, I know there's a KOM somewhere, so I took off, and I got it, and I still have it. It's just not a very popular direction. You look when somebody gives a KOM, and you look how many people have rode it, and it's
Yeah.
like in Spokane, there's so many people that ride. It's, they might have 400, 500 people. In bigger towns, it's like thousands. you know.
Yeah.
But it's like 25. It's like, how can you take any pride out of that?
I've got to the point where do you guys get to the point where the live stream app keeps crashing? Is it crashing on your end too, Jackson?
It's coming here and there.
Yeah. But I'm at the point now where I'm understanding that maybe I'm rambling because there are so many things about that where I want to talk about segment hunting, where is it a potential form of competition? Is it maybe even an outlet for racing? And does it count? Yes, you're not pinning a number on, but it is a competitive form of cycling. And then I also want to talk about the concepts of is using teammates, is using tailwinds, is going backwards down a climb to use some momentum to run into an up section of a climb. I'm thinking of one of my favorite segments, Jameson climb, where most people come at it on a downhill section and hit it rolling into it. Yeah, but they're going across traffic or they're going backwards, in a lane, and the sheer ethics of all of that. So is it racing, number one? Is it legit? Because we're in such a situation where races are so hard to come by. And what do you think about the concepts of using teammates and using little tips and tricks along the way?
Well, it's funny because you would think that I'd be the one to be the most into this thing. But we were talking about it on one of our rides when Bike Fit Sam was talking about what you were just talking about, Jameson. Yeah. He's like, I'm surprised you haven't gone for it. He said that to me. And in all honesty, I have gone for one KOM and I got it. And then that's it.
Really?
I don't know what it is, but I have never really cared about KOMs for some reason. But I think that, especially during like our COVID times, I thought it was a really good way for people to create competition between one another in this sport, because that's kind of what
Jack's dog.
Sorry.
All in all, though, I think that that's kind of what the core of the sport can be sometimes, is that competitive edge against other people. And so I think it was really nice that was an available resource for people.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like we talk about with Zwift, everybody's going to find a way to game it, is what is the term I always use.
Yeah.
They're always going to find a way to use a downhill or use other people, just any way to win, really. And so, I mean, I'm not surprised to see it. And I think because there are like we talked about with gravel last week, there are no rules to it.
Yeah.
So however you get it, you get it. I mean, you can flag it and be a poor loser. But all in all, I think whatever way you can get it, hell, I'd do it. I'd use all you guys if we ever wanted to.
I think it'd be fun to do. I think what I'm saying is I think it'd be fun to do, to grab some friends and go out there and go, let's crush this one.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. And for competitive purposes, and especially because, especially Spokane, basically cycling is a small community sport. And we know who's everybody's on the list, and it's just kind of when teammates are helping other teammates do it, it's pretty cool. But getting back to the race part of it, Ted Chauvin, this must have been early 2011 or 12. He had a time trial. He set up a segment that started off. It was basically a 10-mile time trial.
It was a really good race idea.
And it was it was only people who did this loop. I mean, it was an out and back. on Wednesdays for the month of March.
Yeah.
And then he, sent out like these are the people who came in first, second, third. It was pretty cool.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I remember him doing that.
Yeah.
And I thought, shit, that's kind of the, and talk about a format that is available to just about anybody. You know, when you've got people who say, I can't make it until blah, blah, blah
10
time or something like that, and they go out and they do it anytime they can throughout the course of that day. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Have any of you guys ever created a segment? Genuinely.
One.
Really? You have?
Well, actually 2 now.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know how.
Accidentally 3.
Oh.
So one was
Your driveway.
on the no, not my driveway.
I got the KOM, motherfucker!
And no one's gonna get it.
Some guy's out in your driveway. Get out of here! Slow down!
The first one was on the Troika Loop, where you drop down, and it's at the bottom of the canyon, and you get to Cooley Height. And I did that years ago. And that's when
why
Troika
you always
was still
go
around.
so fucking fast
Yeah.
up that thing.
Well, I not so much anymore.
You do
but-
for me.
And then just recently, I tried to create that 40K to train on, and I
Okay.
screwed up because you take when you set it up, and I did it on my phone. is you're supposed to drag and follow on the map and make sure you on the turnaround and stuff like that. And I only did like 15K of the 40K, and I even titled it my 40K, and there's only 15K. And it's like Jesus. And then I did another one. It's the real 40K is what I labeled it. So so 3 I've done. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you the KOM on it?
Yeah, because no one knows about it.
Because
I mean,
I
people could
find
crush
ones-
it any day.
Because
you
there are
know.
ones out there that I find, I'm like, holy shit, I had no idea. You know, but when we did Portland rides, Jackson, there were a ton of rides where I'm just
gosh,
blip,
yeah.
blip, 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 blip. You're just finding ones left and right. Now I don't have any KOMs or something like that. Jack, I can only imagine what you're running into. I mean, when you come home, it's like, holy shit, there's segments everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've just started looking at the maps and drawing my own rides and looking at segments that are out there. So I've only been on Strava again since probably 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks. And something like that. And
Noob.
so for me, it was like I come home from a ride and I'm like, oh, fuck, segment. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And then I kind of start analyzing, like, where is that segment now?
Yeah.
You know, kind of look at it on the map and go, oh, man, that's perfect for me. And then next time I'm kind of thinking, well, if I feel good that day, I'll go find it. So maybe I'm doing it backwards. Maybe
I don't think
it's
so.
all new to me.
Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, there are certain segments that are just happen to be areas that I like to ride, and I don't search for KOMs. I don't think I'm ever going to get one, and I don't mean that as a woe is me kind of a moment. I just think I'm past that phase of my life, and I drink too much. So I think I'm now at the point where I just search for PRs, and I keep hoping I'm going to beat myself from sometime in the past.
Get better.
Yeah. And the day that I don't is the day that I just say, fuck it, I quit. And I'm going to throw my bike into a dumpster like Daniel LaRusso in The Karate Kid.
I will say something about segments. I think people kind of go crazy. Like Mount Spokane is just polluted. There's like so many different segments going up. Mount Spokane is from this point to that point. I couldn't even keep straight.
Really?
I mean, yeah, if you look on it, you know, you can pull up the map,
Yeah.
look at segments, you get them in Mount Spokane. There's certain sections that are worth like from Mitchell's Barn to whatever road. I don't even know there was another road, you know.
Really?
So
So
yeah.
people are just like where I can get my little moment of sunshine.
Yeah, and I mean, I think
Everybody
you could
gets
use
a
it.
fucking trophy.
Well, I think you could actually use it for training personally, like maybe that, because the way Mount Spokane starts, you know, you're about 3-4%, you know, going up to Bear Creek, and then it pitches up by the ranger station, and then, you know, I think that's useful, but I think sometimes people are like, you know,
Trying to grab their windows.
This is going so well.
Jack?
He's.
Oh my god.
Are you a transformer, or what's going on?
You have made...
Well, my air compressor just decided to go off, so I must have a slow leak, and then all of a sudden it just like lit up.
dude, what?
I'm not working. I promise. I'm not cooking. I'm not working.
First of all,
believe
two
you.
things just happened. You just potentially beat Karsten in terms of the like what the fuck is going on in the background. And number two, your audio just got way better. You like closed that door and your audio got way better. Now he's gone.
God, how annoying. I'm there.
Have
I'm
any of
still
you guys
here.
ever reported anybody on Strava?
No.
No?
I don't really care.
No.
Would you
enough.
care? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't either.
Unless it was like 5 seconds they beat my KOM, I'd be like, I feel like that's not real.
Really?
You know, like if it took them 5 seconds to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a fucking bike on your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a couple, plenty, that have been beaten. There's obviously by a car because you look at the times and everybody else is averaging, 27.2 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And this person's doing 36.
Yeah.
They're in the car. And
Yeah.
it'll eventually go away. Somebody realized KOM, they're going to feel guilty. in my
Yeah,
opinion.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's what I would hope for.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not you're not Jay Vine on Zwift.
Yeah.
See how I pulled that around?
That was
You're not striving for a pro contract or anything like that. Jack, was that a beer?
He opened up a beer, yeah.
Yep. I just wanted it to seem like I was in the studio.
Oh.
Let's play around with some news, shall we? News brought to us by our friends at Competitive Cyclists. I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't I shop at the LBS? I'm waiting because the volume's really loud. This is just kind of a shit show. I get again. I keep talking. Galloway, makes fun of me for the fact that I decide to do a live show. He says because it's not perfect, and I think that's the best part is that it's not perfect. It's just a bunch of people sitting around drinking beer and talking about bikes, and sometimes things shit the bed. Just like our live stream, which I keep trying to fucking make happen. And I should stop because it's ruining the rest of the show. Wouldn't you agree? I would agree. Competitive Cyclists, yes, use your LBS, but when they don't have it, click the link to Competitive Cyclists. For example, nobody around here carries tubulars, and I just grabbed some from Competitive Cyclists. Why did I grab tubulars? Because, well, I'll get to that here shortly. I'll get to that towards the tail end of the show. First story, so much for our picks. Monday's rest day may have called a brief halt to the racing at the Vuelta a España, but Tuesday's Stage 10 time trial saw race leader Remco Evenepoel picked up where he left off, extending his lead with his first Grand Tour stage victory. The Belgian, who has been in red since Stage 6, dominated the 30.9 test from Alicante, storming to a victory of 48 seconds ahead of anyone else with an average speed of you guys good on metrics?
Yeah, I'll do it.
55.658 kilometers per hour.
I think that's near 34 miles
That's
an
hauling fucking ass. I mean,
Wow.
what's the world hour record?
hour. It's right in there.
And he did it on the road.
He should.
But he
With
has
wind
gears.
and
He has
shit.
gears.
He does have gears, yeah. Roglic couldn't continue his his run of time trial victories, and he sits back a little bit, and I think it's because I picked him. Currently, Remco ahead of Primoz at 241 with Enric Mas at 303. Anybody have any comments on the performances of and the level of performance of Remco Evenepoel, and if you saw this coming, or were we thinking it was something that was going to eventually happen and were surprised by it happening, or were you just like, fuck, this guy's gonna open up big time?
Well, I mean, we talked about it when we did our Vuelta preview show, and how we said that he's a great choice for some stage wins, but I don't think he can hold the 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's coming up on a week and a half.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's halfway through, so it's a lot more than I thought he could do.
And 241's not bad.
241's pretty nice cushion for his possible knowledge, or his knowledge of a possible bad day, I think.
Yeah.
Because he always has had one, and Dan Lloyd said that in the Racing News Show on GCN. He said in every one of the 1 week tours that he's ridden, he's had one bad day that has cost him like some minutes. And so I wonder if he knows that he'll have one bad day. And so he has a good cushion.
Yeah.
And it really is showing how he has prepared probably all year long to target this Grand Tour. And I think you asked is it an eventuality type of thing? I think eventually, yeah, he's going to win a Grand Tour. And if it could be this one, but we were all thinking that Pogačar could claw back 2 minutes in the tour, and he never did. And so Quick-Step has a really climb-heavy team, too, to really monitor it all. So
That is so weird to hear.
yeah.
That Quick-Step has a climb-heavy team. A classics team like that.
I know, right?
Shit. Paul, what?
Well, I think we'll see.
Jackson's the only one who picked
Yeah.
Remco. I mean,
And
he
he's
is an
a-
outsider.
Yeah. Well, it's because he was at the
Yeah.
beginning of this all.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven his mettle in 1 week, so, we're kind of pushing to see what this is all virgin ground to see if he can make it. But, yeah, I'd be surprised if he did. I think he will have a bad day. I don't wish it upon him because I kind of like the idea because the last Belgian winner of a Grand Tour is in 1979 in the Giro. So,
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So, but I like to see maybe somebody else getting into the mix with, Vingegaard and Pogačar.
Yeah.
It's like this is kind of makes it exciting, and a lot of teams would be hopefully if he does win, people don't because Sepp Kuss is out for COVID. Oh no, I don't know if it's COVID. He was
Unknown
sick.
illness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had somebody crashed pretty hard. I don't know if he's back in. So teams are getting weak, and people they had 8 non-starters because of COVID today. So,
Shit.
that it could alter it, but whoever's there and you win, you still have to push the pedals and stuff. So, I just don't think he's going to, but I hope he does because he's Belgian.
So you're on board. You're a fan.
I'm a fan because his nationality. I think he's starting to mellow out with his little, at first he came off a little harsh and a little like prima donna. So
A little angry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't-
A little Veruca salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with him today where he was cooling down, and the guy came up to him. He goes, "Did you think you'd win by such a margin?" And he goes, "I didn't see the result." And he said 48 seconds. And the face that he pulled, he was shocked.
Uh-huh.
He knew he won, but he didn't know he won by that much.
That much, yeah.
Did we dislike him because of his behavior, or did we dislike him because he was Patrick Lefevre's prize boy?
I mean, I feel like one came from the other, So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I don't throw that. I think Lefebvre is. I mean, he's as much whether you like his personality or not. He's a brilliant guy, and he said he can
Exactly.
he can do this, and everybody's like, right, look at their team that they're taking, and
Yeah.
who would have guessed he's where he's at? I mean, so like Lefebvre or not,
Yeah.
the guy's a cycling genius.
Yeah. Hey Jack, should Ineos be happy with where they're sitting right now? They got Carlos Rodriguez in 4th, 3 minutes and 55 seconds back. Is this something they should be like, yeah, we're good? I mean, this is the Yankees of the cycling world in terms of financial commitment.
Right. That's the same question you asked at the tour. So
Yeah.
I don't think Ineos should be happy during the 3 tour season. I mean, they've had successes, and everybody can go, oh yeah, Garen had the best, tour performance wise. We all agreed, and he, everybody talked about that. He's in the best shape ever, and he still got 3rd. Pitcock got, stage victory on Alpe d'Huez, and but Carapaz hasn't really materialized.
Yeah.
None of their big 3-week tours, so it's kind of ironic with Quick Step being, the leader of this tour, climb heavy team, and potentially going to win a tour, is a classics team with a bunch of, go fast for 3 days types of build, to a team like Ineos, who's built around 3-week tours. That Ineos wins Paris-Roubaix, but they can't win a 3-week tour.
Yeah.
It's kind of like things just did a pancake flop.
Yeah.
No, they should not be happy.
And it seems like Richard Carapaz has already decided on the fact that he's riding for a different team next year.
Is that because when he was in the break, it was called back, and he took his radio and threw it at the car?
Did he really?
So
I
put
didn't
it
see
inside.
that. No shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
oh, there's a perk to watching the entire stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Sam Bennett's out. Ethan Hayter's out with COVID. Sepp Kuss out with this quote illness, end quote. I think another Jumbo-Visma rider is out with the same mysterious illness. Do you guys think that there needs to be more transparency, that we should know the illness, or do you think it should just be like fuck it and let it go?
Yeah, I mean, if he's sick and it's not COVID, I feel like it's fine.
What if it's a swollen left testicle? Do you want the world to know that?
Yeah.
If it's Lance, yeah, because he's only got one left. Sorry, was that uncalled for? That was not good. Sorry.
Or a
Maybe
boil on your taint.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to pull out. You want
Didn't
the
Sean
world?
Kelly have to go out with a massive saddle sore once in a race?
I think he did,
That
and I might have been
Floyd
the
Landis,
Vuelta.
he had a saddle sore and won the tour.
And
Well, that's because it was injected.
Laurent
with
Fignon
testosterone.
lost the tour because he had a saddle sore.
Didn't Laurent Fignon drop out of the tour with a gigantic tapeworm also? Yeah.
They showed a picture of it. It looked like E.T.
They showed the tapeworm.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a picture of it. Who knows if it was his?
They just found a random one.
Hey, anybody got a tapeworm
let's
around?
take a
Yeah, I
picture of
got
this
the-
one.
Post that.
Look what they pulled out of his butt.
Hey, you guys, how's everybody doing on their Vuelta points? I haven't kept track of points because I'm just
think
too
I'm at
fucking depressed.
Yeah.
I have Tim Merlier, Thibaut Pinot, Ben O'Connor, and Primos, which means I have no fucking points.
You have 2 from today.
Yeah.
Oh, I do.
Yep.
And I have 2 from today, and I think I have Primos won a stage.
He
earlier,
did.
So I have
Yeah.
7. And that's it. I'm fucked.
I have currently 3, and then Remco won 2 stages.
You're going to dominate this again.
Yeah.
Jack, Jack, are we ever going to do a beer mile?
Running?
No fucking running.
Bring that up on this podcast.
You keep doing that.
Yeah. When I'm back in town, we could do it. You know what we should do? We should do a beer mile on cross bikes in Manitou Park.
We're not doing a Jack. I have to do this every time. First of all, it sounds like you're doing gymnastics with your microphone. Second of all, we can't like videotape us riding bikes and drinking beer and expect to. Well, I can't expect to maintain and keep my job. It's like, hey, that's my teacher. That's my teacher.
Kicked out of a park for an open container.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I didn't even think about that. But it's like, no, we got to do it on the trainer and
Controlled environment.
And I think Paul said it's got to be at least 7% beer. Oh fuck. Oh, great. Let's go to the next story. You guys, Alex takes a bow. I don't know if you guys saw that Alex Dowsett thought he was going for 2 more years, but because of something happened, I don't know if it's a contract extension or something like that. But his contract with Israel Premier Tech is over, and now he decided to call an end to his career instead of playing the waiting game. And his quote was, "I'm going to step out of the World Tour, step out of pro cycling for now," on his YouTube vlog. I understand a couple of months ago I said I wanted a couple more years. It's worth talking about what's changed since then. And this year he's gone through a period of what he wants to win something bigger than I previously won, to be better than I've previously been, and wavered somewhat, and have been more in a state of being happy with what I have achieved. That's a lesson for life. Being content with my world and achievements and successes and application to my time into the world tour. I feel it's a very nice point to stop this chapter in my life and move forward. I'm grateful I get to bring this close to on my terms. It's my decision, and nothing has been forced. So I know that a lot of people listening to the show might not be up to speed on Alex's career. You got to be pretty in depth into the world of pro cycling to follow Alex. He made that world hour record attempt. He's had some pretty cool victories along the way. We also saw the end of the road for Tom Dumoulin. And we've also seen the end of the road for a lot of big riders. Some because some forced, some just the end of the road. So I guess I want to talk a little bit about the riders leaving. We always have our characters in the story of the sport, and who are we expected to see leave, who we foresee to see leave, and who we're really sad about seeing depart. For example, I have a list from our friends at ProCyclingStats.com. Big names we're seeing: Vincenzo Nibali, obviously Alejandro Valverde, who's fucking riding well in the Vuelta right now at his 42 years of age. Mikel Nieve, Anthony Roux, Richie Porte. I just paused.
You're
for
the one
Richie.
that did that.
I paused for Richie. Yeah, I did. Philippe Gilbert, Alex Dowsett now, Ben King, Tom Dumoulin, and Giovanni Visconti. So those are some of the riders we're seeing. Who are you sad? Who are you expecting? Who are you surprised they haven't? For example, I think Chris Froome should have called it a day. I love Chris. I love what he's done to his career, but I also think it's time for Chris to hang it up. Anybody else got a thought on retirements? Let's start with the man on the voice in our ears, Jack Broadhead.
Well, I think the two. I mean, Valverde is probably. I would wish that he would keep going on. I mean, just like how much more can you do? How much greatness can you do? I don't know what he's got going on in his life that would make him retire, but like he's still got it, and maybe there's another chapter involved with cycling. So,
yeah.
So and being an old guy, you got to root for the old guys.
Yeah.
So some of these guys are retiring, like Kittle and some of these guys are retiring at like
Dumoulin's 31. That's
yeah,
it.
and I'm like, you got a decade to go, but everybody has different lives and kids and responsibilities and I bet it's it takes a toll on your relationships. I mean, I've been there. It's cycling or a relationship. I don't know how they do it. They're not home ever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think people like Valverde. I hope he stays in the sport because he's just been like just easy to love. So
yeah. God damn it! I keep hitting my pad.
Panda watch.
This show.
Panda watch.
This
show's been kind of a train
Is it
wreck.
the 13th? What's going on here?
It's the end of the month.
Yeah.
I got to work tomorrow. I've been
That's what it
working.
is.
I've been working, so I'm just off my game. You guys listening to this show need to pay me money, so I will just be more focused.
So he quit his day job.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
I'll fix everything.
Yeah.
I could buy more bourbon.
After the show, just tell Michelle.
Yeah,
Honey,
exactly.
I think I might quit my day job.
Honey, yeah. You guys, Jackson is the Peter Sagan. Is it on the horizon? He just raced the e-bike mountain bike world championships.
Yeah.
I did. Is that okay with you? And how long are you still holding on? Are you still holding a little torch for him? I don't mean that in a cheesy way, because this is your guy, man. This is the guy you put posters up when you were younger. I mean, I had Sean Kelly all over my fucking bedroom, and people were like, "You got a lot of dudes in your bedroom." I'm like, "Yeah, because they're fucking cool."
Yeah.
And they shave their legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that I think Peter Sagan, first of all, I don't know if, I mean, he's not really, I think he knows his own capabilities, which I really respect about him. He's not out there complaining about the fact that he's not winning races really that much. So I'm okay with it. And I also think that Total Energies has a marketable person in Peter Sagan.
Yeah.
If he begins to really take gravel and off-road seriously, they, like Nicky Terpstra does, I think they could have some, first of all, really high-class wins in the gravel world, but also, like I said, a really marketable person that they can make a lot of money off of, because he is one of the most interesting people in our sport, I find. But, you know, when they grow long in the tooth, you find other people that you love, like Pogacar and Alaphilippe, and it's it all eventually just
You've moved on.
You have
what
to.
you're saying. Yeah.
You have to. Unfortunately, you can hear the sorrow in my voice.
Yeah.
God, it's just
He had his time.
hard.
He did, and he had a really great career.
It's hard to see your heroes decline.
It was that 2020 year though
Yeah.
that really kicked him in the teeth. I think.
Yeah.
It was just
The COVID years.
Yeah,
I think
COVID
Jack's
years.
wrestling with his microphone.
Jack, is there
Jesus.
some form of a cat or a
I know.
gerbil in your room or something? No, that has too many
It's-
sexual connotations.
About me?
Yeah.
I was walking around. I guess this house is so empty and echoey.
Yeah.
I can't even walk.
Oh
I'll
no,
go
we
sit.
know.
I'll go
We
sit.
can hear that.
Jack, I'm going to do an impression of you. Ready? Bark, 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 bark.
I'm going to text Karsten right now and
Yeah.
tell him I got the KOM.
Yeah.
You made it funnier than Karsten did, though, so that's good. Paul, is there anybody you expect to see leave who should have left? I mean, are they sticking the poker in the fire a little too long?
I don't know. I think Dumoulin, you could see after he left, he just didn't have the fire. I don't think
Yeah.
he had the fire when that's why he left, and he came back. And I heard words that he was kind of like his dauber was down, and Roglic actually kind of said, "Hey, man," got him kind of stoked a little bit. But
Yeah.
um,
He seemed like he was like, okay, I'm back.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck, I forgot how much I
it's
hated this.
freaking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think when somebody a miss is Vincenzo Nibali.
Nibali,
I mean,
yeah.
he's won, 2 monuments, all 3, Grand Tours. He was exciting to watch, and he's, I think he's a great. He attempted Flanders. I think he's a great rider. I didn't like him in the beginning, but
Yeah.
when I look back in his career, he's
Quite the
clever as
legend.
hell.
I have found myself doing that with so many professional cyclists where I'm like, you're an asshole. I hate your guts. Oh, fuck, you're kind of cool now. Mark Cavendish.
I was about to say that,
I was,
yeah.
I was very much on the. I didn't like Mark Cavendish. Vincenzo Nibali, I didn't like, but now that I look back on retrospect, I think I should have respected Nibali for what he was, especially that tour he won. He rode that tour brilliantly, and an attacking style. He threw shit to the wind, and he didn't care, and that was beautiful bike racing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I was just too in the mental state of this method of science and marginal gains and how to win a Grand Tour that I was so far into that I bought, I drank the Kool-Aid, and I apologize to Vincenzo Nibali. Maybe he was brash, maybe he was an asshole, but you know what? I worship Bernard Hinault as a
there's
kid,
an
and he
asshole.
was an asshole. He
Still
probably
is.
still is an asshole. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what my problem was. So I do want to kind of take it off of Paul's response and jump to the next for our topic for tonight's show. And this one does require a little race report from you, Paul. You were the only one in this room or online or in a vacant room with a dog and an air compressor to race, to pin a number on and straddle the top tube and go hard this last weekend. So first of all, please don't go too far down the self-deprecation road.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I have that in common. We tend to both just go like, well, first of all, I suck. I am a total loser. Nobody should ever look at me in the eyes. And it's fun. But I'd like to hear about your weekend, how the race went, what your expectations were. How did they go in terms of meeting them? We talked last week about the fact that you were a little concerned about the fact that you didn't feel very good going in, and I know how it turned out. But tell the rest of us.
Well, yeah, going into it, I had a week prior to, I did a 40K on my own, and it was disastrous, and I mentioned that, and I just, I tried to get with Sam. Just my schedule and his schedule didn't go together to get a good fit. And I think I need to raise up, the risers on my, for my, aero bars. No, the stem's fine. Cause it's the base bars are actually could be lower. It's just the way things are set up. Anyway, that's something that, in retrospect, I think I use this as a baseline. When I showed up at Wenatchee's, listen, just go and frickin' just kill yourself. And that's your baseline. And so anyway, got everything ready. My wife and I had the grandkids the day before I left for Wenatchee. I left Saturday. The race was Sunday.
Well, then we're blaming them.
No, I wish I could. And so, I had everything laid out. And when I went, packed everything in the car, kissed my wife goodbye, pet my dog, and off I went. And met up with a friend and his lovely wife and had dinner at a Italian restaurant, which was 100% cycling.
What?
All over the walls. They have, like, Eddie Merckx. They have the smoking one here.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They have, all the posters you can get pretty much in it. The pizzas were named
Somebody
Kopi.
else has these on their walls?
Yeah, can you believe that?
Shit, I thought about the
Yeah.
only one.
Yeah, so I was in good company and a good environment, and they had, there's the Kopi, there's the Bugno pizza, there's the Ferrar. Can you believe that? Tyler Ferrar. They named their pizzas after cyclists.
This is Tyler Ferrar's hometown.
So it's this restaurant, Italian restaurant. It's in a strip mall, but
Do you have the name?
It starts with a G. I can't. You can look it up. I think there's
Shit,
only
that's
two.
cool.
Yeah.
I want to eat there.
So, they have pizza there. That's the pizzas. I had a pasta. I had a carbonara and stuff. So. Anyway, it was a great night.
Did you have a Cipollini carbonara?
I think they have a Cipollini pizza.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think they do. The Chippo. But anyway, probably stayed up a little bit later than I should. Stayed at a really crappy hotel. I won't go into details on that. Woke up, had a really crappy breakfast, and there's no excuse for that. Had nothing to do with my performance.
Yeah.
But it was just like one of those things. So I set up my bike, and I'm like, I forgot my fucking pump. And because I have a disc wheel, you have to have a right angled.
Oh.
It's not a standard pump.
Fuck.
But most people show up at a time trial, right?
There's
They
a
have,
dentist somewhere with a really
Yeah.
good pump.
So I asked the guy in front of me, and he's got this pump, and it's like, nah, that's not going to work. He goes, maybe the other guy. So the other guy in front of him, we're all in the same age group.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And he's got this, it's like a battery-operated air gun and with a flexible hose. And we're just sitting there talking. He's from Coeur d'Alene. Race. Race
Jones.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah.
So I've never met him before, and we just
I've
chat
never
a
met
little
him
bit.
either.
Yeah.
It's just, we kind of social media fall
Yeah.
into each other's
Yeah.
laps. Yeah.
So it was great. Here's these three guys that we just happened to park right next to each other in the same age group and stuff. So
Is his name really Race?
yeah, it really is Race.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
My wife knew somebody named Race.
Really?
But he doesn't race.
That's
Oh,
then
so, yeah.
You got to race if you're named Race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no kidding.
yeah, it's like naming me asshole because I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
Wait, nope. Anyway,
So I set up my bike on my trainer, started warming up. And then the best part was, this is going to shame Sam, Bike Fit Sam,
oh yeah,
is that this guy rides by and this guy named Nate says, "Hey, Sam." And he goes, "I'm not Sam." And he goes, "Is Sam here?" And I go, "Are you talking about Waples?" "Yeah." "He's not coming." "Waples!" Together like in Australia. "Waples is not coming." And so his name was Ian Tubbs was the other guy.
Yeah.
And Ian Tubbs is a very strong rider. And this is part of the story. I'm throwing that in.
Okay.
So
Because we have
Anyway,
to bust Bike Fit Sam's balls
he takes
a little
well.
bit here.
Ian's parked behind me, and so he takes a picture while I'm warming up, and he says, "Where the hell are you?" And and he sends a picture to Sam. So Sam got a little fried at that.
A little
on
ball
that.
busting.
So, yeah.
Good.
So I'm warmed up. I'm sweating. It's great. It's a great course. It's rough chip seal, with a slide uphill all the way there on the turnaround, and then you come back. So 20K out, 20K back. The wind was actually kind of a cross tailwind, cross headwind going out, plus uphill. So it was a struggle, but still, nevertheless, I get it. Everything, my discs on, going down there. Get into the stage, and I look, and I pull out this computer, which I'm going to put. I've got my, and it's the Garmin that you gave me, but I have the Wahoo that you gave me is what I use.
Garmin's-
Well, I'll just use the Garmin, and the battery.
That Garmin is 10 years old.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus. So I ran back, sprinted back, put it, everything, took my heart rate monitor, and dumped it.
You
And I
race
thought-
blind.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't anyway. I
You
would anyway. I was just
keep
keeping
forgetting,
records.
As I said at the beginning, you do. Yeah.
But I would know my time, right? At the end of it, I'd be able to
Yeah.
see what my time was. So I take off. Race was in front of me. He's my 1 minute man. And the other guy that I met my age was my 2 minute man. Well, I caught my 2 minute man like halfway through.
Wow.
And I caught Race before the turnaround. So I'm thinking, I might not be doing too bad. But before I caught Race, this gentleman named Sean Howard, who lives in town.
We know Sean.
Yeah. He caught me. I was 3 minutes. I was just 3 minute man. And he caught me with 6 miles into the race.
Fucking hell.
He beat me by 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
anyway, finished the race. Don't know where I finished and stuff. And but on the way back, I was having mechanical problems. You know how I'm very proud, and and I have the old stem shifters on the end of my. And it's a front derailleur because it's friction. If you know anything about friction front derailleurs, because they're not index, you have to have tension on there.
Yeah.
So it was a rough road, and I hit a couple of potholes, but then all of a sudden, the shifter got a little bit loose on the shifter, which means I have to hold that shifter up. I'm thinking, fuck, this is embarrassing. And I could hear it rubbing against my chain. It wasn't doing anything, but all I had to do is make sure I had pressure on it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, I know better. So when I finish, Ian Tubbs goes by, and I said, how'd you do? And he goes, man, like within the first kilometer, I shift gears and went over a rumble strip, and my DI2 put me in crash mode. He spent like 2 miles trying to get. He's got this J box underneath, and I'm thinking, well, there's better. At least I was just holding. I was able to fix mine.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so those things happen.
Am I-
And that's the thing. This is when I mentioned about equipment. We had people on standard road bikes. Cool. I think that's cool. They went out and did the
Okay.
state championship on that.
That's kind of the topic I want to get to.
Yeah.
So were you satisfied with how things went?
Yeah, I mean, I accepted it.
Yeah.
I got 5th out of 7th, and the 2 people in front of me I passed. And,
Okay.
You know, I looked at the times. I'm thinking that is a fucking slow time for a 40K. It was 1:06, and I'm thinking
Hour 6.
an hour 6. Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I started looking. The guy who won our category in the 50 plus at nationals, I think he did a 54, and he
Yeah.
did a 58
Yeah.
there. That just tells you the how slow it was. Everybody had slow times for him, like a good couple of minutes, 3 to 4 minutes because of the wind and stuff.
So it was pretty
it was
substantial.
brutal, yeah.
So, one of the things you brought about in you talked about in the fact was, first of all, we've been talking for a couple weeks about the fact that the event was small. The numbers were very small, and that's a trend that's happening in road cycling, primarily road cycling. Obviously, gravel, no. Obviously, fondos, no. I mean, things are exploding like that. And you mentioned the big elephant in the room when it comes to this. The fact that attending a time trial without all the expensive bells and whistles basically means you're immediately at a disadvantage. So I want to talk about the equipment discrepancy in our sport. I want to talk about the fact that cycling, as we know it, is insanely expensive, and I'm not just talking bikes. What did you see? You were just starting about people on standard road bikes. What did you see out there in terms of gear?
I did like standard road bikes. There's somebody else. I don't even know what category they had time trials set up, but they had box rims. They probably couldn't afford the wheels. I don't. I saw, like Ian, he had Di2 Durace on his, fancy time trial bike and deep dish wheels. I mean, all that.
Yeah.
That's a $10,000 bike. And, it's one of those things where that's an unfortunate side of our sport. Where, especially in time trials, probably more so than in a standard road race, that your equipment can give you, like, on a 40K, possibly a 30 seconds more or a minute. And my bike is, I think, 12 years old, my TT bike. My base bar, everything is from that time period. My disc is at least 12, maybe 15 years old, So, and I use a standard road wheel, a deep dish road wheel. Didn't have anything fancy on it.
Mm-hmm. Jack, you've just switched to a new bike, and you obviously have noticed the gigantic difference. I keep thinking of Phil Gaiman, who just won. Gaiman? Is he Gaiman? He's Gaiman. I'm Neil Gaiman, Phil Gaiman. He just won the Mount Washington Hill Climb at a faster time than he did when he was decades younger. What do you equate to equipment in terms of things like, would you have raced this weekend on some of your old equipment?
Well, in listening to Paul, kind of makes me miss. It wasn't that long ago, like 9 years ago, that I had a really nice time trial bike. That I bought because I thought I was going to do some triathlons. So
that's it. Good night, Jack. I've done one.
But I'm not doing triathlons. But anyway, I bought it specifically for that. But it was a Scott Plasma with SRAM red 10-speed, and it was a really nice bike. And I regret selling that because now that I've been riding, it's like, well, God, that would have been nice to have kicking around. But my current bike. I'm not sure that other than like what campy 13 speeds coming out.
You shitting me?
No.
I don't know, but that I don't think you can buy a more technologically advanced bike. It's 12 speed. It's wireless shifting. I'm charging batteries right now, and better not. Leave the house without forgetting to put that battery back on.
So it wasn't a compressor; it was your generator.
So it's the technology side of it is fun. Riding with Paul, we were talking about. It's like I can take my pinky and shift. You're not pushing a cable around. It's so user friendly that there's got to be a performance advantage.
I
don't know how you actually could measure that, except with the same person on two different bikes on Mount Washington.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've reached that point where we can all agree that it is a definite performance advantage. I mean, I didn't have Strava in the 80s and 90s when I was riding, as in my youth and fit and fast. But I bet I could come close to rivaling those times now here as an older guy. Jackson, you've seen technological advances within your short lifespan. Mm-hmm. And you're the guy who we would probably all agree that on this show that is the most eager to move to the new stuff and things like that. I mean, I don't know how to ask you a question on this because I'm thinking about the fact that your last bike was an aluminum rim brake, entry level bike.
Mm-hmm.
How do you compete with a rim brake aluminum entry level bike with somebody like you on a brand new carbon electric shifting disc brake ready to rock aerodynamic bike? How do you tell somebody to get involved in the sport with that kind of a disadvantage?
I mean, it's tough, but I think it takes a very certain type. I mean, I remember when we first started doing those Thursday night rides, I was on my Trek, and I was up with the Cat 2 guys.
You were, yeah.
Still
that's true.
riding aluminum, all that stuff. And I remember saying to you, it's fun to show other people what aluminum can do. And to me, like, you can have the best equipment in the world, but it's all in the legs after a while.
Holy shit. You just quoted your grandfather.
Well, I mean, I know.
That was my next question.
I mean, in all honesty, though, it really is. You can be 45 years old and have the best equipment in the game. You can be a dentist and be like the richest man in the entire city. But if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
That sounds really annoying, but that's just kind of the unfortunate. Well, no, not unfortunate. That's just part of our sport.
Yeah. Going back to time trials, though, it's so. I mean, I never even thought about attending because I don't have a fucking TT bike. There's no fucking way I'm gonna go. I mean, I have a road bike, I have clip-on aero bars, and that's it. I don't have a helmet. I don't have anything like that. Paul, what would you say to somebody who's just like, trying to be competitive, but with a realistic budget? Let me ask you this. What are the basic minimums that somebody would need to attend a time trial and hope to be competitive?
I think deep dish wheels, first of all.
So $2,000 right there.
Well,
carbon deep dish.
Apparently, you can buy deep dish wheels for $600.
Well, I was going to get to that later, but yeah.
So,
I found it.
Yeah. So, I think deep dish wheels and aero bars. I mean, that's. I think that's going to get yourself in a good fit and a good position
on a road bike.
On a road bike, because that's 90. What even Chris Carmichael said, 95% of your CDA, your coefficient of drag is going to come from your body. So, you could have all the nice equipment. I mean, you better have your bearings, not tight in, everything dialed in. But, like a disc wheel, because of the weight on that course, probably work to your favor because you can get on top of a bigger gear because of the inertia of that gyro effect, But it was so windy that I'm glad I didn't have a deep dish front wheel. I mean, I had like a 6mm as opposed to some of those guys had 8+s. And the last 3 kilometers, the wind changer, because it's basically right off the Wenatchee River. And so the wind was going up we're going down a valley and you're coming back from the river and it was shooting up and then bouncing off the walls. And the last 3K was like, whoa, it almost Chris Froomed it at one point. So, yeah. So, I think just to get your, TTs are a different thing. Some people don't like it because it's basically like, I think being on stage naked, you have no way to hide.
Running backwards towards the doorknob.
Doorknob. Yeah. Everybody has that fear. But it's to me the mental challenge because it really is a personal thing. But you have all these cares, people in front of you, and the fun part was. My Minuteman, I saw like a power pole or something. I think where he crossed it, I started counting 1,000.
I do that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I getting closer?
Yeah.
Am I getting closer? And then it becomes visually obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you've got something to chase. And then am I pushing too much? Somebody passes me. Do I try and stay their pace? Is that stupid? All these things that are running through your head.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, you're a piece of crap. Look at you. Can barely push a 55-12. That type. Anyway, but I think
we've all just seen inside the mind of Paul. Yeah.
But my first race ever I've mentioned to you was a TT back in the day. You just did it on your road bike.
Yeah.
And that was that was a blast.
Do you
know?
think there's a way to bring it back down to that, or is the most expensive gear going to always win?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Once you've
It's
taken
gone.
it that far, I think stage races the only time you're going to see it, because that only makes it fair. Not everybody has a TT bike, and you could gain, tons of time if one guy's doing it, on the standard road bike, and somebody has a TT bike. So,
Well, I think that the creation of the aero bike in this scenario makes it very interesting, especially at, like, for instance, like an RC3 level, like the race that we had in our area. I think, like you were mentioning, a stage race, I think the aero bike makes it interesting, because if somebody who has a TT bike that is not as fit as somebody who has an aero bike goes out, I think that would be an interesting comparison, because in reality, what, besides positioning, what more are they really having on the other person? I don't know. I think it would be a really interesting comparison to just think about those things. And with equipment, it can be definitely compared.
Okay.
The problem is that two strong people that are going, trying to get first place, one being on an aero bike and one being on a TT bike, then that marginal gains becomes an issue, because they may be equal on strength but not on bike and position then. So you're not going to get the same.
Yeah.
You're going to lose the time trial, essentially, with two equal people. But it's...
I think you hit a point there. I think there's, for somebody just to get in there and do, when you start getting it up to the top, that's where the industry wants everybody to think you cannot even achieve. You'd have gone so much faster had you bought or spent money on
You always
us.
hear the 3 seconds per mile, 5 seconds per mile,
It's like,
and now it's watts per,
Yeah.
And things like that. And it becomes demoralizing. I mean, why even? I would have shown up to the time trial this weekend, but there was no fucking bot. I mean, first of all, there were not enough people, and that makes me sad. But second of all, it was like I would have been on a standard road bike with clip-ons.
I can guarantee you the guy who won the 50 plus on a standard road bike would have beat me on my TT bike.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. He's that strong. And that's something I had to deal with when I looked at my time. It's easy to beat yourself up on. And it's like, no, I know when I got off the bike and I have a weak hamstring on the left side and my glute from a bike crash. And it felt like somebody just slugged me in the ass, and I thought I couldn't have gone any harder.
Yeah.
That was the best. But that's where training now, it's fueled that fire, you know what I mean, to the point where I'm going to incorporate, right? I've only ridden that bike 3 times.
I was going to say, should you have spent more time on that? Should you have spent
trained
more time
on it?
that?
Once a week, just grab it, and even if it's on a smart trainer, and just do a 1 hour effort, warm up, 1 hour effort, just and get a good fit. I think that's the biggest thing people need. And time trials, a good fit, aero fit is huge. Yes, Bike Fit Sam.
Yeah. Even though he didn't show up.
Yeah.
The irony in this entire topic. Hey, everybody talk to me about what are some of the dumbest ways to waste money on cycling in terms of equipment? What are the dumbest fucking things you should stay away from, in your personal opinion, in terms of waste money on cycling? If I'm talking to the average Joe who has, well, let's play it on both ends. Let's say Aunt Jessie dies. I have 10 grand from Aunt Jessie. She gave me $10,000. And she said in her will specifically, I want you to spend it on something you love. And you love cycling. You have 10 grand to spend. What are 2 of the coolest things you should buy and 1 of the dumbest things you should not buy? Does anybody have any immediate red flags or green flags that pop into your head? It's like, fuck yeah, or don't do it. For example, I would not spend money on a high-end power meter. I wouldn't do it. After I spent $300, which is a lot of fucking money, on those pedals, the
Asamoah.
Asamoah pedals, it gives me the numbers I need. And I would never spend that high-end money. Yes, I know that somebody's screaming at their iPod. I say iPod is intentionally. They're screaming in their cubicle at work going, dude, it's so much better data. The information is so much more important. But we're normal people. You don't need that data. I get my numbers. I see what I'm doing. I get it as accurate or not as it is. It's just like riding Zwift. My numbers are not the same as they are on the road, but I can see it and I can adjust for that moment. So if you had 10 grand to invest, tell me 2 things you would invest in and 1 thing you would stay the hell away from.
So is this on the same budget we have to buy the 2 things, or just like
10 grand?
Because
you have a blank check, not blank check. You have a check for $10,000 and you have to spend it on cycling.
Because the 2 things that I think of is, first of all, we have no affiliation to this brand, but
no, we don't have no. Yeah,
man. You go. What I think you do is, the local bike shops are great, but for $10,000, you go onto Canyon's website and you buy their
disagree with
highest end road bike, and you will probably get it for around that much. And if you have any left over, buy the most comfortable saddle for your body that you can find.
Yeah,
those are the 2 things that I would invest in. Because realistically, you're going to be able to get a very nice, high-quality bike for the money that you have with $10,000. And then, make it comfortable. And then
You're the star at the top of the tree. That's what you're buying. You're just like, bing!
I mean, that's the best you can get, I feel like.
Okay.
And then the stuff that I would not invest in, me personally, I don't know if I would invest in a time trial bike, just because I don't see myself. This is for me personally. Other people, it's different.
We're all speaking on our own
on our own accord
terms.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't see a lot of opportunities around myself to ride time trials very often. And in all honesty, I don't know if I would particularly want to put myself in a situation where I'm going to be riding like a long time trial a lot of times during the year. So that's what I would do, just because I feel like it's a super situational bike.
I will say this right now, that 10 grand will not buy you a high-end Pinarello. Because
you don't need that.
I think that bike is bullshit, but I've said that on multiple platforms.
Yes, you have.
Jack Broadhead, if you had 10 grand, what would you buy and what would you not buy?
Well, I just did that, and I bought a road bike.
You didn't spend 10 grand.
That's
just
my
under.
number one.
Did you?
It's 9.
I spent less than that, but not much, and
worth every penny?
Worth every penny, 1,000%. I love the bike, and my wife's making gestures that I've lost my concentration. So,
this is a sex room.
Not 10 grand, but close. And I actually totally agree with Jackson on saddle, and you could finish it out with some accessories that make it even more pleasurable. If I already had that bike, and I was looking for some way to spend $10,000, I think it would be race trips. It would not. It would not be. I mean, there's and experiences like I'm gonna go do Masters Nationals, or we're going to Belgium, or to watch Flanders, or something like that would be a life changing experience, because I think those, like vacations, are very important.
That's really good. I like that.
Good.
Yeah, I like that. Did I ask did you say what you would not buy?
I wouldn't buy, oh man, I was going to say I wouldn't buy a set of $2,000 tubulars, but you got a really good deal on them. But, I think tubulars these days, like I was talking to Paul about this. I'd like to build a couple sets of tubulars because I have some rims kicking around that are kind of old school, and it'd be like really cool to take old school and some new technology like discs and kind of put them together.
Yeah.
I'm not
But-
building those wheels.
If I was gonna go buy a set of wheels, I would probably stick with clinchers. I mean, I got some Envy clinchers that are tubeless ready, but I mean, they came on the bike I bought, but they're a couple of grand.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
and they ride nicely. They're stiff. They're, so, but I don't, as far as stuff I wouldn't buy with that money, I guess I can't really think of anything specific.
Sleeveless jerseys.
It's all good. Whatever makes your heart happy.
Yeah. Entrance to an Ironman.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I have no desire.
Yeah. Paul, talk to me, man.
I'll start off on the what I wouldn't buy, and I agree with Jackson, is a TT bike, and I own one.
This is a guy who owns a TT bike. Yeah.
But I got it for $1,000.
Oh, okay.
A little different.
And I got a
So you
dog
could buy
out of the
9
deal.
of those.
Yeah.
You got a dog out of the deal. What?
That's a story in itself. That's how Flanders came about. My wife wanted a dog, and I said, no, we don't have any dogs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she goes, we'll name it Flanders, your favorite,
right,
and blah,
yeah.
blah, blah.
Sure.
And I said, we get the dog, and I get a TT bike. And,
She said, "Dude."
for the cost of this dog, then I'll buy a TT bike. She goes, you'll never ride that. And I said, well, maybe or maybe not, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we struck a deal.
Yeah.
So Flanders, I'm glad we have Flanders. And Sunday, I'm glad I had a TT bike. 'Cause
There
it was
you
fun.
go. There you go.
So it worked out. But TT bikes are not, and I think that's unfortunate that it's got so. I mean, I enjoyed TTs in my early career because it was just
It was
before
a part
aero
of a
bars.
it was a part of a weekend stage race.
Yeah. And you just did it in your drop bars,
Yeah.
your same race wheels.
Yeah.
But it is fun to go even faster
Yeah.
with all. It's hard to argue that point, but I bought my disc wheel for $100 at a garage sale.
No shit.
Yeah, I mean that's. So I'm going to get to what I would do with that $10,000.
Yeah.
Because I'm old school, and when you went to buy a bike, you didn't buy Specialized with 600 or 600. See how old I am. Ultegra,
Ultegra,
or Durace or whatever. You didn't. It was you bought the frame. You bought what you wanted. Grupo. You built. Yeah, you built up.
I miss those days.
And I think you still can do that. And I think some of the shopping around now with rim brakes disappearing, to me, my weakness is climbing and going up a hill. So weight is huge. When I look at today's bikes that are pushing where it's a pound, these disc brake high-end bikes are only a pound lighter than my steel bike with race-ready wheels. I'm like, holy cow, that can bring steel bikes back. I mean, but they're starting to shave that weight back a little bit. But because nothing made a difference uphill for me than a light bike. I could not believe the difference. Like, I test rode a Cervelo R3, and in one weekend I was allowed to use the bike, and I was like smashing. This is when I had Strava. It's like it's night and day. Really? I mean, that bike was a little bit over maybe 16 pounds, and then with my race wheels on my steel bike was 19. So. Yeah, it was comfortable and stuff. So
you're
but
10
I
grand.
would say, getting back to my point, is find even if it's used nowadays, it doesn't matter. A little scratch here, because your
Pro's
dad could
closet.
scratch it.
Yeah.
Like brand new anyway. So.
Well, yeah, because that's what he does. He just throws a random ruler at it.
Yeah.
And destroys a brand new BMC, and it wrecks him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Even though his son's like, no, whatever, man.
Yeah.
It fucked me up, man.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But just you can get I like
both
to.
of you.
I've ridden tubeless, I've ridden tubulars, and I've ridden clinchers. Now it's not economically smart to daily ride on tubulars. I always ride daily on clinchers.
Yeah.
The FAF on tubeless is not for me, and I deal with tubulars. Tubulars to me are a lot easier to deal with than tubeless. But get the wheel set you want, a second wheel set. I've got a light bike. I can find the frame. at the saddle I want. I mean, piecing it together as opposed to buying something off the shelf and saying, fuck, my ass hurts. Well, or my taint's got a boil on it. Get the right saddle. You got to throw away a saddle. Then it's like these bars are too narrow. Oh, it's one piece. It's like, whoa, you spent $10,000 and you
especially if it's an
do
integrated
what I'm
bar
doing.
bar system,
Yeah.
and you're fucked.
And you're running hoses through there and everything,
Yeah.
so you can't really use like a different stem, or this is too flexible. Well, it comes from BMC, and this is what you have to use or specialize. So that's what I would do.
How? Oh, okay. So we've all seen Seinfeld, and we all remember the episode where Kramer was investing in the company where you build your own pizza. You make your own pizza. Do you think there's a market out there for these cyclists like us to say, I want to not only purchase a bike, but I want to build it in your facility with supervision? I want to build my own bike, and I want you to help me do everything through the steps. Do you think that's? I mean, I'm thinking LA. I'm thinking some of the more elite markets.
Yeah.
How cool would that be for people
Absolutely.
to be able to go through every single step of their bike? If you're spending $12-15 for a bike, how cool would it be to, as you're saying, customize it? I need wider bars, to have somebody fit you and say, Pat, your shoulders are fucking huge. We're gonna already, before we even get your bike going, we're gonna make sure we have wider bars, we have all this stuff, we have a deeper drop, we have everything built to your customization. How fucking cool would that be? That's a studio bike shop.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But there are people with that money. That's what I'm saying.
That's what's
it's insane.
crazy.
My $10,000. I am a cheap bastard. My $10,000, I would buy, kind of like what you said, Jackson. I would make sure to buy a bike through a really good, reliable company, of any sort. And then I would make sure I would buy at least 2 to 3 sets of wheels. That would be my money. I would, and that would be what I would do, because yes, I'm about to talk about the fact that I bought a set of tubulars, and I plan on riding the tubulars, not all the time, but consistently. I'm not going to use them as race wheels. I don't race enough to own race wheels. That's dumb. That's a set of wheels that hang on my wall until they're outdated. That's just fucking stupid. So I'm going to ride my race wheels, and that's why I bought tubulars that are more training tires, and Paul almost disowned me. But the one thing I would never buy, and I will never buy, is an aero helmet. I think they're horrible.
Mine was $99.
Was it?
Yeah, it was on sale because they changed the model.
I just see people in aero helmets, and I wish ill upon their houses. I think it's terrible. I think they're horrible looking. I think you shouldn't wear them in public. I don't think you should wear them in a race. I don't think you should ever wear them. And it made it even worse at the tour this year when they were wearing those fucking aqua socks on their heads.
Yeah, and he won today with one.
I work for Remco.
Remco wore one of those fucking helmets today?
A red one.
Oh!
Yep. But his position,
God damn it!
His position was to the point I had to look, because it really affected him, because the way his head is so low.
Well, he's
you
lowering
couldn't see
it
You
in
see
shame.
other people.
He was lowering it in shame.
Probably. And it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a red, just to go with the
Yeah.
Bright
jersey.
red.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. You know what?
I can't imagine how hot he was, because it goes around your neck.
And it was a specialized helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have.
No wonder he ripped his helmet off and doused his head.
I would really like to get a lot more sponsors for this show, but Specialized, get your shit together. This is terrible. This is fucking terrible.
But
hey,
if you do want to sponsor,
I do want a sponsor. So I'd write a fucking tube sock on my face. Oh. Hey, you guys, let's close out with a quick fun idea. Does anybody have anything cool that they see on out there in terms of cycling, in terms of innovation, in terms of the web, in terms of deals? For example, I am now going to mention that I found online a pair of carbon tubular wheels, regularly $2,000 freaking dollars. They're closing it out. I bought them for $600. They're building them now for me. They were not pre-built. They are building them. And it's because the company is obviously shifting towards disc brake design. And I found them and I contacted them directly. And I'm going to mention the company name, even though they have no affiliation with this show. But I contacted them directly. I had an email exchange back and forth with the person who said, I swear to God, I am a cat too. I have raced these wheels. I love these wheels. We're just closing them out, and I'm glad they're going to go to a new home. We will build them to whatever specs you want. Bing, bang, boom. I paid $600 for a set of $2,000 wheels.
Carbon? Are they
carbon?
6 or 6 centimeter deep? What was the depth?
It's deeper than that. It's like 7.
They look like an 80 mil type of thing.
Yeah, they're fucking deep, and I took what they could get. So, which, in other words,
cool,
if a crossword,
there's your TT wheels.
Yeah, crosswind goes. I'm gonna be like, all
Chris
over the road.
Froome!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but and it is a company out of Portland called Hi-Fi. And they have their website. You can check them out. They're doing closeout wheels. You guys check them out. That's my just random recommendation for the show. I don't know if I think I threw you guys under the bus on this one, especially Jack. But if anybody has any, just like, holy shit, this is cool. Anybody got anything?
Yeah, well, I think one of the coolest things.
It could even be a YouTube channel.
One of the coolest things that I own is the new version of the Wahoo Element Bolt.
Yeah.
I have done one navigation on it, and the color screen is, I didn't think it would be. Talk about a game changer. Yeah.
Packfiller.com.
Exactly. But I also
sound like Alex Jones.
But I also really enjoy the eat reminders.
That is so weird. Yeah.
Let's say you're BWR however many hours into an event or Unbound or something like that, and you don't think about it anymore. You have something always reminding you.
Chirp.
Yeah, which I think it really gets down to the core human needs, but I think it's really really nice and really cool.
I've been doing this sport for a long fucking time, and I never remember to eat or drink.
Yeah. It's nice to have.
Yeah. That's a cool feature. Jack or Paul? Jack, you got anything?
I need that exact computer, so that's what I'm buying.
Do it. Yeah, man, it's a great computer. I don't know why the color screen would be. It's just, is it kind of geeky more, or is it legit better?
Oh, it's like
the color
way
screen.
Better.
I mean, is the color screen worth it?
I think so. I went from the old version to the new version, and just comparing the two, it is a different game altogether.
Meanwhile, Paul in the background is just like, you fucking, are you kidding me, man?
I don't need it. That's right. I don't need that in my back pocket.
It'll be a color screen in your back
that's
pocket.
right.
You got anything that you see out there?
I came across, I've talked about this guy. He's got a YouTube channel. His name is Wayne's Photos. I don't always agree with everything. He's from Australia. He's in Melbourne. And but he's got some good points. And he's a big tubular fan, and that's what he rides on. And he uses sealant if he gets a flat, unless it's a massive cut.
Yeah.
He uses for a repair and then pumps it up, and it's good. So it doesn't work as well as because the fatter the tire, sealant works better because it doesn't have that high pressure that's blowing that shit out. Doesn't have time to seal up.
Oh, okay.
That's how sealant works. I mean, the slow leaks are actually better because it gets in there and then anyway. Yeah. So he's mentioning how he's starting to see a trend where people are starting to buy tubulars because there's so much on the market. Everybody's going disc brakes, and so you're getting wheels cheap. You can buy used wheels, which are fine, and especially there's tons of used shops, but the Pro Closet has a warranty behind their stuff. And, and I like all that. I mean, I find myself sometimes just grooming through, if I crash my frame, what I could probably buy something, and just pop it in there, and I've got everything that I need. And I think that's, I guess, cool about being old is I don't mind. That's a rim brake. I don't need the most aero. I want light. Yeah. But I don't need the most aero. I don't need disc brakes. I don't need all that faff. I just want, just to have a new frame come in, because our friend Terry McLeod got in a crash in a crit, and I'm
did,
thinking,
yeah.
Jesus. But you can go to those places and find another rim break. All your parts within a week, you're back on the bike.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I think that's
Yeah,
a great thing.
That is a great point. And it's being accessible for the home mechanic to be able to rebuild that is such an important thing. And now that we've got all this integrated shit in our head tubes, we can't do
No.
it anymore unless we have a degree in engineering or we
I watch it. What's it
or
called?
a dentist.
It's Road. There's a YouTube channel. It's called Road Cyclist or Road Bike or something. And you actually watch a guy build bikes. And he starts from scratch.
Kind
And
of cool.
it is very, I mean, to me, it's soothing.
I was
when
going
I
to
started
say, it
looking-
sounds mildly erotic.
But when I start watching, in fact, you can get a room. Just decorate a room so you
Private
can watch.
room. Jack's in one now.
Yeah. But I was sitting here watching him set up the brakes, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, fishing through stuff, and it's like, oh. It's not.
Wow.
At some time, I'm going to have
Miss
to
those
buy all
days.
those special hose cutting reamers.
Yeah.
You know, get everything.
On the word reamer, I'm going to end the show. Hey, everybody, get out there. Keep pedaling. Are we already on the mode where we're talking about next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
I just shaved my legs for the last time.
You
For
did? Really?
2022.
Really? You stopped shaving?
Yeah, as
I
of
didn't know.
I shaved the day before the race,
Really?
and that's it. I'll be done.
Jack, are you gonna pedal in anger, or are you just waiting for 2020 cross season? Yeah, bullshit.
It's coming.
Bullshit. Oh,
fuck. No, I'm putting tubular cross tires on my Elephant. I've been running.
are you really gonna do cross?
Yeah.
You're really gonna do it? I thought I was
On
busting
the
your
west
balls, man.
side
Go
or
get 'em.
over here?
Both.
Good for you.
Right on. We'll come out and watch you and drink
Why
beer.
not?
We'll hand up beer. There
Nice.
we go. Hour 43
Maybe
is this
down
show.
here.
Now, mind you, the first 10 minutes might be scrubbed because I was trying to figure out the live stream. If you tried to watch the live stream, I promise that will be fixed by next week, and I mean it this time. Thanks, everybody. Keep the rubber side down, and like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff that I ask you to do every week, and tell a friend about the show. I'm not complaining because we're doing incredibly well, and the show's I sound like Donald Trump. We're huge. Thanks, everybody. We'll catch you next week.